Hi, I'm Chef Brian Lewis. Welcome to our first installment of our In the Kitchen series. This exciting new series will be featured on all of our social media channels, as well as my new website for Full House Hospitality Group. Full House Hospitality Group is something that I'm very proud and grateful for, with all of the amazing chefs and the talented team in all 4 restaurants, the Cottage in Westport and Greenwich, as well as Oko in Westport and Rye. To kick off our monthly series, one of my favorite dishes here, certainly in the winter months at the Cottage in Greenwich, is our Cottage chicken pot pie. First, we're going to start with my favorite roast chicken recipe. I rinse it off, pat it dry, and let it get to room temperature the day you're going to cook it. I don't do a very complicated trussing. The winglets I take right off because they'll burn up a little bit too quickly, and I want to have those resting right on the pan. So then I just want to tie the drumsticks like that with some trussing string. Really simple, tying it right around the back end of the neck, up around your drumsticks. Bring that right on top of the winglets. They serve as a nice little base, and I'll season quite nicely with salt, fennel pollen, one of my favorite ingredients, and smoked paprika. I don't use butter when I roast my chicken. I just find that if I want to add butter, you're going to get plenty in the glazed vegetables, and then of course lots of black pepper. I love thyme as an herb, and also just with this chicken recipe in particular. So I'll just tuck the thyme right in there. 500 degrees for 20 minutes, down to 350 for 20 more, turn the oven off for 20 more. We're going to now glaze our root vegetables. We have cipollini onions, carrots, celery root, celery, and fingerling potatoes, which have been part cooked in water, chilled, and sliced. So for me, glazing requires butter and water. Some people use vegetable or chicken stock. I love to use water because it's simple and gives a really clean flavor profile to just pulling the vegetable juices out of the actual vegetables that you're cooking. And then we're going to add our cipollini onions first. We're going to let those glaze for about 10 minutes, cook down. Now I'm going to add all of the other vegetables. And they're all going to cook for about maybe 15, 20 minutes while I add a little bit more water. You already have the butter fat in there. So as I mentioned, you want to always season with your salt in layers. I don't add pepper at this stage, as I don't want that to overly influence the flavor profile. I like to add any bright, fresh flavor profiles toward the end. Now we're going to let it simmer for about 15 minutes. As our root vegetables are glazing, our chicken is now ready. We're going to pull it out, let it rest, and then we can start to pull the chicken to prepare our chicken pot pie. We're going to check on our glazed vegetables. We're going to add a little bit of fresh thyme, and then just to give it a little bit of acidity, a touch of sherry vinegar. It really cuts the fat in the butter. All right, so our vegetables are fully glazed and ready to go. So now we're going to make our sauce. We're going to take chicken stock, either made at home or store-bought, just great quality. Separately, we're going to melt butter and do a very classic, one of the first things I learned years and years ago, which is a roux. So I'm just going to take my butter and flour and make, as I mentioned, what's called a roux. But I use this rather infrequently, but it's a really great way to create the right texture for the pot pie. There's something nostalgic about it for me. I'll add a little bit of salt. So now we're going to add our amontillado sherry, or just your favorite sherry cooking wine at home. This happens to be mine. And you just get a really nice, smooth, paste-like consistency. Really doesn't need much more than that, and then this beautiful chicken broth that we're going to add to it. So you're really adding the broth in stages, allowing it to absorb into the roux slowly and smoothly, and developing the flavor along the way. Our sauce has been made, our vegetables have been glazed, our chicken has been roasted and rested, and now it's time to get in and pull the chicken meat apart, as well as the skin, which you can leave on the side if you like, but I'm a big fan of chopping the skin up as well and including it. So we'll just pull our breast down the side with our knife. A small paring knife or utility knife works really well. Gonna lay out our chicken in a way that keeps us nice and organized. Again, I love the skin, so I'm going to just include it. And this is a great recipe if you're making chicken tacos, quesadillas, great for a day or two after it's been roasted. I'm going to add the chicken to our glazed root vegetables. I like about 50% chicken to root vegetables, which is just what we have here. So now we're going to take our sauce, all in one right here. All right, now the fun part, we're going to take puff pastry that I either make myself or you can get at any of your favorite local grocers. You're just going to cut a nice size circle that fits the top of your casserole. Set it aside. Now we're going to assemble our beautiful chicken and vegetable mixture with our sauce in there. So now we're going to put our puff pastry lids on our casserole. I like to use a fluted decorative ring cutter to put over the top to allow for the steam to be released and also later pour some additional sauce inside. So we just take it over there and we just crimp it ever so gently. So now we're going to help our beautiful puff pastry get a golden brown crust, a little bit of egg wash with milk and egg, whole egg. So we're at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to let that cook for about 25 minutes until golden brown, ready to go. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. Cooking for about 20-25 minutes until golden brown and just like Mom used to make. So in the restaurants, we like to take it to another level and we add a little bit more sauce right over the top as we get ready to send it out to the dining room. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed our first episode of In the Kitchen. We have lots more in store for next month.